Imagine climbing your way to the top of your social order. You've made alliances with the right factions and formed a powerful coalition. Now it's up to you to lead your troops to defend your territory and resources. It's not the story of an English lord or a French aristocrat. It's a common tale for chimpanzees. The social lives of chimpanzees are all about politics, grooming, and aggression. But sometimes even the animal kingdom gets sophisticated in life, death, and taxonomy. Welcome back to Life, Death, and Taxonomy. It's your 30 minutes of interesting animal information. I'm Joe.
And I'm Carlos.
Thank you to Cassie for the creation of our theme song. To hear more of Cassie's music, please search Cassie Michelle on YouTube or Spotify.
And thank you to Johanna for the creation of this week's artwork. To check that out, you can visit us at our home on the web at ldtaxonomy.com. And a very special thank you to our patrons, to Jesse Raspolich, Carol Raspolich, Richard Caspar, Lottie and Aubrey, Gray Hughes, and a new patron, Wednesday Rabbit. That's the
Wednesday Rabbit is a good little moniker. I like it.
Patreon
gamer
handle.
Tag.
I like to think of Wednesday Addams, and with a rabbit, like just holding a rabbit. That's just a like in a Mona Lisa kind of painting. Anyway, that was the first image that popped into my head. But welcome, Wednesday Rabbit. It's greatly appreciated. Thanks for helping us keep the lights on. Yeah, there's more to
that. And today we're talking monkey business, but more on that later. And actually, really not. We're not talking about monkeys at all.
We are not talking about monkeys. It's funny because recently we've been watching a lot of the Disney Showstoppers tunes on YouTube with the kids because the movies have too much scary stuff in them, but the big showstoppers are fun. And one of them is I Want to Be Like You from the Jungle Book.
Mm-hmm.
And
usually my least favorite song in an animated movie is the Showstopper.
That one's a pretty good one,
or
though.
the character song.
The I Want song is usually my least favorite one.
Except for in The Prince of Egypt, which is just chef's kiss.
The Prince of Egypt never misses. There isn't a bad one there. So
worst song in it is Playing with the Big Boys, and that's great.
Yeah, they can't. That's not included in the body of work and content that we're discussing when it comes to the. It's just in a class on its own. Puts all the other ones to shame.
You put that up against Olaf, and there's no contest.
Right, because it's also Steve Martin and Martin Short, and they share a name, so there's that. That's just fun.
It's like Batman and Batman's mom and Superman's mom.
Oh, both being named Martha. Yeah, you know the best part of Batman v Superman. Anyway, anyway, so there's a lot of like monkey references and puns. He talks about monkeying around, but he's an orangutan, so he's not a monkey. And I have to explain this to my son so that he doesn't grow up thinking that an orangutan's a monkey. I want him to be smart. I want him to fit in with his friends.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Still a good that's a good song because the scatting's always fun, and then the best part is at the very end when Baloo's costume falls off. He looks down and realizes that it's fallen off, and he's like, "Man," like it's like it's just such a weird reaction to that. With that
being back in his normal state.
No, it's weird now. Like he was dancing around pretending to be a monkey, or an ape along with everybody else. He's like
Oh,
playing a double agent.
Okay.
His costume falls off. It's revealed that he's a bear, and he's not welcome there. And then he just looks down. He realizes that the costume's fallen off, and he's like, "Man." Anyway, we're talking about the chimpanzee, which is an ape, not a monkey.
That's true. I've been watching. What is it called? Chimp Empire or something like that.
What?
On Netflix.
Oh, the yeah, sure.
Documentary.
It's like the Jane Goodall thing.
No, it has nothing to do with any people.
Oh, it's just look at them in the nature.
Yeah, it's look at these apes.
Yeah, this is another one of those very well-known celebrity animals we have not yet covered. Take a break from all these really obscure goats that live on the top of a Himalayan mountain and talk about some chimpanzees.
Yeah, they're so well known and familiar. When you look at them, there's an uncanniness to it. There is a creepiness to it.
You do expect them to speak.
Look at this. Yeah, in like when they're just sitting down and like looking at something like a stick, you're like, that's a guy. It's just a guy sitting, sitting a spell,
and thinking about life.
Yeah.
But we're gonna call the chimpanzee here the chimp off the old block.
Nice.
And the chimpanzeer.
Pan-seared steak.
Because they're burninating the countryside. Which will make sense when we say the species name. Which we could just jump right into, right? It's time to taxonomize this bad boy.
Okay.
It's in a kingdom you know, love, and are in, Animalia. The phylum is Chordata. The class, Mammalia. The order is Primates. Primates.
We're getting pretty close. We're still here.
Yeah, usually we've jumped ship at this point, but no, we're in the same zip code. The suborder is Haplorhini. In for order, Simiformes, simians. The family is Hominidae. The subfamily, Homininae. The tribe is Homini. This one's got a tribe. The genus is Pan. And the species is Troglodytes. Like Trogdor, burninating the countryside. Chimpanzee. It all works together.
Or like troglodytes. People that live in
caves. Yeah, it's that's the insult that the nerdy character gives in a kid's cartoon to the jocks or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like you're just upset because you're not in honors English, you troglodytes. Do you like my nerd voice?
That's pretty good.
Because it's I was in honors English. Anyway, yeah, Pan Troglodytes is the binomial nomenclature of the chimpanzee. I had never looked up the taxonomy of a chimp. So I was surprised to find Pan in there. But it's time for my favorite part of the show, since we're in the business of naming things and business is good. Critter groups. The part of the show where I ask you, Joe, a question, and that question is the same every time. What is the name of a group of this animal? What is the term of venery? Or what is the collective noun? It's all the same. If you saw a group of chimpanzees, would you call it A, a tribe of chimpanzees, B, a gallivant of chimpanzees, C, a screech of chimpanzees, Or D, a colony of chimpanzees?
A tribe, final answer.
That is correct. Did you already know?
Goodness. No, I just because I was thinking troop, and it's closest to that. If it was going to be colony, I was going to riot. These bees? Absolutely not. But yeah, that's good. That's the one I would have wanted it to be out of those four.
I think it's been a while since you got one right, so there you go.
Yeah.
Tribe of
that's good.
chimpanzees. It's also a troop, but I knew you'd get it immediately if I said troop, so you got it immediately anyway. So my efforts were in vain. But yeah, a tribe of chimpanzees. Do you want to hear what it looks like?
Yeah.
That's English.
Is it not just look at yourself in the mirror, make yourself hairy, and forget how to do math?
You got to jut your jaw out quite a bit, like kind of blow out your cheeks and do your best Ron Perlman impression.
Yeah, smash your nose like Voldemort.
Yeah, you got to have a Voldemort nose. So, I mean, in case you don't know what a chimpanzee looks like, I'll keep this short because I don't think anyone's in that particular bucket. But they're smallish humanoid animals with head, shoulders, knees, and toes. They have brown or black coarse hair all over, except for on their face, ears, feet, and hands. They have black, brown, or beige skin on those exposed places, or all over, but it's apparent in their face and ears and hands and feet. They have a heavy set brow, large protruding jaw, flat nostrils, large ears, long arms, short legs. They are just like little lanky people.
And they got chunky little midsections.
It's all muscle.
It's always pictured like more human-esque, like a strong man in the gym. Like if you were to draw an ape, but it's like a rounded body. It's very
a rounded body, and like the arms are longer than you think.
Yeah.
For reasons that will become apparent. But they are smallish humanoids, which means they are not as big as as a typical human. But how big does that make them?
Well, that brings us to the Beloved Measure Up segment. Welcome to the Beloved Measure Up segment, the official listener's favorite part of the part of the show when we present the animal size and dimensions in relatable terms through a quiz that's fun for the whole family. It's also part of the show that's introduced by you when you send in an audio of yourself singing, or monkey screaming. The words measure up into ldtaxonomy@gmail.com. Is there a word for that?
Screaming sounds good.
We do not have a new Measure Up intro this week, which means we get to hear from an ape. Carlos has to guess who it is.
I'm excited. Is it the chimpanzees from Madagascar?
No, I didn't know there were any.
They're the British guys who, of course, we're going to fling poo at them.
Oh, that's right. I kept thinking of a lot of non-chimp apes, like Dunstan from Dunstan Checks In, or Mighty Joe Young.
Yeah, all gorillas. I don't know what Dunstan is. I haven't seen that.
He's an orangutan.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I think it will become apparent why adult chimpanzees don't make great actors.
Yeah.
But the best actors make great chimpanzees.
Without further ado, the listener's favorite part of the show.
When that overgrown chimp gets zapped by my mesmer beam, he'll be our slave.
I gotta see it to believe it.
Okay, just watch. Bogey to ape, come here. Yes, master. Coming, master.
What the deuce is that?
You do not recognize that voice?
What was it? Jetsons?
No, but it's that. You're on the right track in terms of...
Was it Flintstones? No, it's some sort of ray. That's why I went Jetsons. And
No,
the
it's
little
the
boy sounded like
great-
Elroy.
It's Grape Ape. It's the Great Grape Ape Show. A Hanna-Barbera situation.
I was never going to get that. Hanna-Barbera is not something I grew up with, so this is the second
don't
time
think
you've
any-
thrown
this is
one
like-
of those my way with that octopus.
This is like 1970s. This is like not what anyone grew up with,
well, I mean,
except for older people.
I grew up with the Jungle Book, and that was made in the 60s, I think. So,
Well, this is a TV show. This is like not
And Tom
not
and
really
Jerry.
like a 1975. Let's talk about height. They're 149 centimeters, or 4 feet and 11 inches. There are a subspecies of, I forget what their name is, like Bali or Gali chimps that are like 5 feet tall and taller than 5 feet.
I was gonna say,
But,
1 inch taller than the average. Good for them.
They make it to the 5 foot range. So, how many chimpanzees go into the length of the longest set of monkey bars in the world?
The longest set of monkey bars. This is a good one.
Here's a hint. The longest monkey bars were built in Sunshine Wharf in Kobe, Japan. In April 2019, the bars included 556 rungs.
That is very good information.
They made a point to let me know that they set it up in the rain, but it still only took 15 minutes
To complete,
to build.
they built the world's longest set of monkey bars in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That is
It might be like a plug and play situation where they prefabbed sections. And
I
they
feel like
set
it would
up.
take longer than 15 minutes to like cement it into the ground though. I suddenly don't want to go on these monkey bars. I thought you were going to say it took 15 minutes to complete. What an athlete. Who can go on monkey bars for 15 minutes? That's a long time.
Probably a monkey.
Probably a monkey. Okay, so the rungs are probably 2 feet apart. And we have talked enough to where I've forgotten the exact number of rungs that you mentioned, but I think it's 560 something. So we'll go with that. So I'm going to say 1,120 feet for the whole kit and also the caboodle. Are we going with 5 or 4 or 11?
411. 149 centimeters.
227 chimpanzee lengths go into the length of the world's longest set of monkey bars that was apparently put up in the amount of time it takes me to eat a sandwich.
Final answer?
Yes.
Correct answer is 100.6 chimps.
What did I get so wrong? Is it only 1 foot rungs? Are these for like... Oh, I guess it is for children, isn't it? Huh.
They're 492 feet. It was 492 feet long. So yeah, like maybe even like about a foot.
If you watch me on the video, I'm like holding my arms out, pretending like, okay, if I was on a monkey bar, like how far apart would they be? It's like, yes, I'm a full-grown man. I'm 6 feet tall. This a comfortable monkey bar distance would be 2 feet, but if I'm 6, then it's no kid would ever do monkey bars. You'd have to do like a gymnast front backflip from one to the other. Okay, well, that's just me being very adult centric.
Yeah. Let's talk weight. They're 40 to 70 kilograms, or 88 to 154 pounds. How many single potato chips go into the weight of a chimpanzee?
Oh,
Do you want to know the logic behind this one?
I'm afraid to say yes.
Because chips sounds like chimps.
That's pretty good.
That's thinking with a chimp-sized brain.
That's
Here's a hint.
thinking with nothing but your frontal lobe.
Here's a hint. A potato chip weighs.
A potato chip.
Its weight depends on the size and thickness of it, of course. The earliest known recipe dates back to 1817, a cookbook called The Cook's Oracle. You would think the potato chip went back like as soon as Columbus set foot in the New World and was handed a potato, that he would like slice it into thin pieces and fry it. But I guess not.
Are they only a North American
Yeah,
delicacy?
potatoes are on the no, they're South American.
I mean, yeah, I guess Western Hemisphere.
Yes, they're
American.
from this side of the Columbian Exchange. So the Irish had the real potato famine was before 1492.
Was every year before 1492. Well, no, that's not the case because the potato famine in Ireland wasn't that they ran out of potatoes. It was that
Is it that they only had potatoes?
It was that they only had potatoes. They had the exact opposite problem from a potato supply perspective. Okay. A potato chip.
If you find a recipe for an authentic medieval stew and it has potatoes, it is not authentic. A stew in the Middle Ages would have had bits of bread to thicken it.
Did you say it was from a book called The Cooking Oracle?
The Cook's Oracle.
The Cook's Oracle. Yeah, that's a Dark Souls boss.
We know about Murgo's wet nurse, but this is her oracle. This is her cook.
Yeah, and she has whisks for hands and a spatula face. A potato chip is not an ounce because ounces are heavier than anything else on Earth. They are probably a tenth of an ounce. That seems okay. Man, I want chips.
Thinking with grams.
I can't because I don't deal drugs, and I'm also not in the European Union.
They deal drugs in ounces and also like amounts of money.
They deal drugs in ounces, and also people who don't deal drugs use grams. So you're wrong on all fronts, Carlos. Yeah, just I can't conceptualize it. But also apparently I can't conceptualize an ounce, so I'm kind of at square one no matter what. Might as
What did we say that you need to hold, like a marshmallow is an ounce, or like a mouse?
a mouse is. I feel like a mouse
is probably like 2 ounces.
The ounce of mouse.
You know, the most relatable thing ever, holding a mouse.
Yeah. Everybody has like a ball python they have to feed, right? All right, I'm gonna go with 1/10 of an ounce. 24,000. We'll just gonna say 24,000, or we'll round up 25,000. Potato chips go into the weight of a. If you were gonna make a potato chimp, it would require 25,000 chips.
Final
Man,
answer?
I'm hungry. Yes, final answer.
The correct answer is 35,000 chips.
That's not. I don't even need to do the math to know I'm not close to a nursing school victory on that one.
A potato chip averages 1 to 2 grams. I don't know what that is in freedom units.
I don't even. What is that? What is the?
It's about the weight of a potato chip.
It's about the.
Yeah, I asked ChatGPT how heavy a chip is, so I don't really know if that's 100%.
Yeah, what if that's a hallucination, an AI hallucination?
But the problem is, if you look up the weight of a potato chip, all you're gonna get is shipping weights for bags and boxes.
What you need to do is you need to
Go to the store, get a chip, and put it on a scale. Yeah, that's what I should have done.
stand on the on the scale.
The bathroom scale.
Get your weight,
the chip
and
in
then
my
eat
hand?
a single potato chip, and then step back on the scale again.
No. Oh, stand off of it. Stand on it. Get off. Eat the chip. Get back on.
Yeah, and then do a little bit of subtraction there.
Oh, okay. That's way more fun than what I was saying. Is stand on there, put the chip down, then see how the difference is. Any situation that involves consuming the potato chip is the direction I'd like to move in with this experiment. But because I was thinking that when you said eat it, I was thinking that doesn't make sense. I was thinking get on the thing holding the chip and then eat the chip to get rid of it, but then you're incorporating it into your body. So the weight would be the same.
Yes, it should be the same.
That's what I thought you were saying. Unless you're destroying matter and breaking the laws of physics.
And you're not. So everything should be fine with this. I see no problems.
But that's all I got for that.
All right. Let's get some fast facts before the major facts. Chimpanzees live in the jungles of West and Central Africa. About 15 different countries are included in this, so I won't name them all. But it doesn't just live in jungles. It actually enjoys a variety of different ecosystems and habitats. It lives in the savanna, the rainforest, swampy areas, as well as woodlands. So I was surprised to learn about the savanna. I was like, trees though, right? But yeah, they are just as mobile on the ground, and can set up shop where there aren't a ton of trees. And this is made possible by their omnivorous diet. They eat a lot of different things. They mostly eat fruit, but they also will eat other plant items like leaves, leaf buds, blossoms, stems, bark, resin, seeds. Sounds like to me all parts of your typical plant. Mm-hmm. But they will also eat honey. They'll just eat dirt sometimes. They'll eat insects, birds, if they can catch them.
Troglodyte.
Yeah, absolute troglodyte eating dirt. They'll eat eggs. They will eat mammals that they can catch, and they will also eat other primates. They'll eat smaller monkeys that they can catch, and sometimes even each other. Sometimes even people.
Really?
Yeah, it's actually pretty sad because it's usually like children and babies and stuff.
Oofta.
In pretty disadvantaged, poor places in Africa, which I will talk about later. One of the most iconic aspects of a chimpanzee, besides the whole face ripping part of their identity, is their intelligence. They are one of the few animals in the world to be seen using a tool, and they are quite possibly the only animal in the world that can make a tool. So they won't just use a rock, they will modify the rock. They won't just find a stick and throw it or try to grab something. They will sharpen the stick with their teeth in order to spear things. They use these tools when they're foraging for termites in their hard mounds, when they're looking for nuts or honey, or they will West African chimpanzees have been seen cracking open hard nuts with stones or large branches. They'll use leaves as sponges to dry things, or they'll use them as kind of cups to drink water with. And chimpanzees in Senegal are the ones that can sharpen sticks with their teeth. There's also been a lot of researcher interaction with chimpanzees, particularly in the field of language development. And I think we've talked about language development when it comes to intelligent animals before. I think it was when we were talking about the manta ray, because it can like recognize itself in a mirror. So how intelligent is it? And then dolphin communication. But there have been a lot of success, or several successful or seemingly successful situations where researchers have been able to teach chimpanzees sign language, American Sign Language. Specifically one named Nim Chimpsky. It's one thing just to like when a bunch of researchers get together and they're all like, what should we name the chimp? And they all say different things, and one of them says, Frosty. One of them says oatmeal. The other one says Nim Chimpsky. It's all jokes, but they actually go with like, Todd or something like that. Nope, they actually went with Nim Chimpsky. They followed through on that, and now that's part of what people know about this animal. And it's not even like a dead guy. It's Noam Chomsky. He's still here.
It's not Noam Chimpsky. It's Nim Chimpsky.
It's Nim Chimpsky.
To keep the like vowel sound the same.
Yeah, you don't want to be confusing.
Oh my gosh.
You want it to roll off the fingers, I guess, because it's ASL. So they taught, among other chimps, they taught Nim, in many cases, up to 300 different signs. But even after all of this, and really like closely looking at video footage of how the chimpanzee was interacting with and responding to certain stimulus to create these signs, they concluded that the utterances that Nim was making with the sign language could be easily explained just as prompting on the part of the experimenters. So rather than genuinely coming up with something to say, it's much more of like a you do this so I do this situation, which you could teach to a dog. It's for them, it's like a drill. It's a pure just input
Rote
output
memorization.
situation. Yeah. It's not like for us, language is it's a tool. It's something that we use and manipulate on the fly in order to communicate what we want to communicate. But for them, it's much more like when like the amount of Japanese or Russian that I know. It's like I know, like in each language, I know 3 phrases that if I'm ever asked, like, do I speak Japanese? Boy, do I have the response for you. But guess what? I don't speak Japanese. So just because I can say something in the language doesn't mean I speak the language.
But even that, like, you understand that the words are representative of thoughts and messages.
Yeah, but still, it's like, if I want this, I say these sounds in order.
Okay.
And I have to think about them as sounds. It's actually like, I do speak Spanish, not fluently, but there is a point where you stop thinking of it as a series of sounds that make up the English word that you're trying to say, and it flows to the point where you're thinking Spanish thoughts, and
the word ends up representing the concept instead of representing the word that represents the concept.
yeah. So instead of thinking the English sentence that you want to say and then turning it into a Spanish sentence and then saying it, you are thinking in Spanish and speaking in that. So that's something that chimps with American Sign Language cannot do. It's still a very unique human trait to be able to use language to communicate. Also, like the NIM sentences didn't grow, so like even right now, my kids are learning to speak, and every day they have new things to say that they've never said before, and their sentences are getting longer. They're combining concepts together in their own adorable way. But sometimes they can have these very long trains of thought, and it's tough to follow, but they are naturally piecing these building blocks together in order to communicate. And Nim Chimpsky never did that. I can't say it without smiling, which is maybe the point.
So it's a little bit of a inaccuracy that, like, they're often depicted as like speaking in sign, basic sign, like in the Planet of the Apes. Before, in the first movie, before like some of the apes are, I think the orangutan actually is before he's exposed to the smart gas. Caesar's communicating to him in sign.
Yeah, because he knows it.
fluently.
Yeah.
But the orangutan is responding in rudimentary, basic like phrases, but like giving him information and understanding. But
Yeah,
they
and it's
wouldn't
this.
actually be able to do that.
It's the same thing. I think we also mentioned this with Coco, the gorilla from when we did the Highland Mountain gorilla episode. That whole like Robin Williams thing where Coco says like, she's telling Robin that she's going to miss him when he leaves, or tickle me or something like that. And you're like, oh my goodness, this gorilla is speaking English with her hands. But really it's very, I know that I'm a gorilla. I enjoy being tickled, I guess. If I do this sign, then I get the reward that I was expecting. So basically like pressing a button, but just a very complicated pressing of the button. So it is impressive that they can do something that complicated and do it consistently, but it's not actual communication as much as pressing a button would be communicating that you want whatever the button produces. Not sure if we lost everybody on that, but I'll finish out with the fact that chimps have been in movies, shows, circus acts. They've even been shot into space. They also have, like I said, a reputation of being very strong and very aggressive. Like the whole really can rip a person's face off, which is unfortunately not a myth. And a lot of times it's like, oh, it's all overblown, and I mean it is a little overblown. It's not like if you, I would rather be in the same room with a chimp than like a grizzly bear. But still, like, you're in a dangerous situation if you're in, especially a male chimpanzee. There have been quite a few attacks documented. Many of them have been fatal, specifically with, like I said, kids and babies. That in Uganda is a hot spot for this. Because they're, as chimps and as intelligent as they are and as nimble and with opposable thumbs and all that stuff, they can get into places. And they've also been recorded as drinking people's booze that they have lying around. So now you have drunk chimpanzees that has been thought to be the cause of a lot of the attacks. And
they're angry drunks.
They are very angry drunks. And yeah, they can tear off body parts, skin, all the stuff. They are very, very, very strong. Despite being only 150 pounds, soaking wet, and only 5 feet tall, like, it's all muscle there.
And I've heard it's like it has to do with muscle and bone density. And even though they're like generally the same size, they're like or small or shorter, but like muscularly very similar in size to a strong person. But like their muscles are way more dense. And I think they're even like connected in multiple.
It's the connecting
more ways.
Yeah, same thing with like their jaw. Jaw strength is obviously like way more powerful than a human's. And it's because it's connected, and I mean I don't even know the exact biology of it, but it's connected by the tendons more.
So the lever of their arms and limbs are like
snappy,
way more efficient.
Yeah. And it might be because the male chimpanzees can see humans as potential rivals in their territory. And so that's what chimpanzees do to each other. So it's you don't want to run with their tribe. If you are not anywhere near as strong or as aggressive as they are. And so I'll leave it on that cheerful note. And do you have a major fact for us?
I do, but before we get into it, I also happened to I saw some video about chimps are like surprisingly and crazy good at matching games. If you were to play a game where like there was a grid and it would flash there's different shapes on the grid, and it would be covered, and then all of a sudden it would show you everything on the grid and then cover it back up again, and then you'd have to match find the matching shapes.
Mm-hmm.
Like they see it for the blink of an eye, like that, and they can match them in like less than a second.
Really? Huh.
I don't understand like what there must be something like that their brains developed to do that for.
Well,
But I
it sounds
can't
like
think of-
it's like awareness and awareness, focus, and attention to
True.
detail that
Yeah.
helps them survive. Like being able to look at a tree and like, oh, there's bugs in there. I'm gonna go get them. Or oh, there's a dominant male over there. I can like I look for an instant and immediately recognize a threat. Like that kind of helps you not die in specifically Central Africa, where
So maybe more
all of the predators are.
more animals could do that, but like because they're on high alert. But the chimps are the only ones that can play the game. So
Probably.
understand the game.
I don't know. I'm just talking off the cuff here, but yeah, those are the things. It's one of those things where it's like, which number on the phone has has like a K is associated with the letter K, and it's like I've seen this so many times, and like I have to think really hard about it. It's like we're just our focus and attention to detail doesn't need to be there because we're not constantly in survival mode. So we can look at something and not take in most of the details, where an animal that's used to that like has to almost take in everything that they see with the equal amount of importance, because all of it could be potential food or potential danger.
True. And maybe it's higher functioning that's like filtering stuff out, able to parse importance. But
Yeah.
anyway, I'm calling this major fact Simian Socialites, which would have been a good nickname, but I didn't want to give it to you because I wanted the punch of the major fact. Chimpanzees live in what is called a fission-fusion society, which means group sizes increase and decrease over time. They may break into small groups to forage and look for food and then come together to sleep. So it's different than like a herd, which is always together. Except for elephants are herding animals that do this. They're fission and fusion. They break apart to eat, and they'll also come back together to like travel and sleep. Food availability may also determine subgroup sizes. They typically live in communities ranging from 15 to over 150 members, but often travel in smaller temporary groups for different purposes for whatever they need. So social structures revolve around the males who patrol territories, protect groups, and search for food. Males have a linear dominance hierarchy, with top-ranking individuals displaying aggression, especially after reunions following absences. So, like, if you haven't seen your boys in a while, you show up and then they're mad at you.
No, you're mad at them
Yeah, one way or the other.
because you're dominant. You smack them around. Remind them
Remember
who's
me?
boss.
Remember me? So coalitions among males are formed to enhance dominance, and allies are fickle and change often. Low-ranking males often switch sides because they're just looking for an angle. So mutual grooming is common, and you think it's like mothers to children or blah blah blah, but it's actually, or like mates, but it's most common male to male, and it's a crucial aspect of forming and maintaining these coalitions, these alliances. So a politically active male will try to groom high-ranking males. Being groomed back is a sign of a successful alliance. So if I come over to you and find bugs on you and eat them, and then I sit there and like, well, what should we do next? And then you find bugs on me. Now we're a team, and we can dominate their group together.
You debug my back,
So-
I'll debug yours. That kind of.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dominant males are usually big and strong, but they might not be the biggest and strongest. They might just have the most or strongest allies in the group. So it's in this documentary on Netflix. The dominant male is actually smaller than his closest ally, who's the biggest one in the group, but he's just the dominant male. He's got the most friends.
It's a Robin Hood and Little John kind of thing.
Yeah. Big dumb one, small smart one.
Yeah, like every single duo in fictional existence.
Pinky in the Brain.
Bob and Larry, it's Harry and Marv.
So friends, allies will also greet each other with high fives. But it's not actually like a high five. It's more like a palm slide. A gentle palm slide. Holding your hand out and then the other one just like grazes your palm with theirs.
Yeah,
But
basically like an
Pretty close to
absolutely
a high five.
a mortifying incident for humans.
Yeah, the wet fish or the dead fish handshake.
A dry fish handshake would hurt.
Well, if you got to go with the grain.
Yeah.
So meat sharing is also a sign of favor among male chimps. Dominant males will share meat with their allies and snub their enemies. Including low-ranking males and males that threaten their dominance. So hunting is more common when normal food is abundant. You'd think like these guys love fruit and plants. You know, like a gorilla is almost, I think, completely vegetarian. But these guys, like, when there's a ton of fruit to be eaten, they'll hunt for meat even more. It's not something they do out of, like, scarcity or necessity. It just kind of shows that meat is more of a boon and a social necessity rather than a main part of their diet. When they're full of energy, they go for the meat for some reason. So social hierarchies among adult females are weaker than males, but the status of a female can have an impact on her and her offspring, especially. While chimpanzees' social structures are generally considered patriarchal, females may form alliances against males, and they are recorded. They're recorded teaming up to secure dominance over males in captivity. So I wonder if that's like a normal thing, or if like they just outnumber them and they're going to be like, we're taking charge.
True.
Hard to say. Chimpanzees are territorial and may engage in aggressive behavior, including lethal attacks on other chimpanzees. Territories are patrolled, and conflicts over territory are more common than conflicts over even mating. Larger groups may take over the territories of smaller groups to access more resources, foods, and females.
Like
while
the Nazis.
traditionally, yeah. While traditionally it's believed that only female chimpanzees immigrate, as in like move from one group to another, there are several confirmed cases of adult males integrating into new communities, suggesting that they are less territorial in certain circumstances. I wonder if they lower their guard down, if they're like, there's not a lot of men around. We need more for our army, for our troop. So we'll accept you.
It's a good strategy. It's a bold strategy, Cotton.
Let's see if it pays off. Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I just thought of something else, but I forgot it. the males don't bond with their children at all because they are females can have multiple mates, so they have really no idea who their offspring is. So the babies will bond with their mothers but not their fathers. But sometimes, because they're forming social bonds anyway with random males based on like what is advantageous, they'll accidentally bond with their own sons and sons as a part of this like societal coalition thing. But sometimes they'll like snub their own sons. Like, get the heck out of here. But that's all I got.
That's so sad.
It is sad. That's what you get for being promiscuous.
That's yeah, true. Or this, you might have a bit of an edible complex there.
Edible?
Yeah,
Or an edible complex?
both.
Like, you know.
You said it was all about sharing meat, right?
Yeah. Yeah. How is it edible?
It's a situation where a son is interacting
patricide?
with his father without knowing that it's his father.
Oh, yeah. Okay. But that's not exactly. Yeah.
Okay, it's not the complex, but it's an edible situation.
Yeah. They don't. It doesn't really matter because they just don't form bonds like the father to son bonds.
Yeah. Not like
Yeah.
we do.
They fly into a rage when they see like people and other chimps in their territory. They hate that more than anything.
Yeah, and that could be you.
Yeah.
Which is why when you see chimpanzees, as that, in movies or TV or shows, or like acts and stuff like that, they're almost always very young, juvenile chimps, because once they get old enough, they'll try to kill everyone on set. So,
that's why for a long time I thought chimps were little, like really small, like 2 feet tall.
and then you
With
saw
that,
Andy
it's
Serkis do
Yes.
do the best chimp impression, and you're like, they're actually big and scary. All right. Is that all you got?
That's all I got.
All right, that was the chimpanzee for you out there in Podcastia. Use whatever tools you find or make. Let the alphas fight, and learn American Sign Language like the chimpanzee here in Life, Death, and Taxonomy.
Hey Taxonomy Titans, I just want to remind you that we now have a Patreon. Patrons can see full video episodes and get shoutouts on the show. But ultimately, it's a way for you to help us cover some costs and get even better. Still, reviews are the best way to help us grow. So if you haven't left one yet, we'd really love to hear from you. As always, thanks for listening and engaging.
Life, Death, and Taxonomy is my favorite in the world podcast.
There you go. Something uplifting.
That's nice.
What I have written here is tear a man's face off if he attacks your loved ones like the chimpanzee, and I changed it.
I mean, fair enough.